This is multi-stranded wire. It's commonly used for audio applications, and you use stranded wire for audio to get a better signal. Because of this thing called the skin effect, the current travels on the outer skin of the wire. So if you have multiple strands bundled together, the wire will carry more current. And that's a giant heaping load of The real reason why we use stranded wire is because it makes the wire more flexible. This makes it easier to route through a car. In this video, I'm going to explain what the skin effect actually is and explain why you shouldn't care one bit about it. Just to be perfectly clear, the skin effect itself is a real thing. It's not a myth. But there are a ton of misconceptions about the skin effect. The most important thing to know about the skin effect is it's only relevant for AC current. In a car, the big thick power wire running from your battery to your amplifier, that's DC current. So the skin effect has no impact on that wire. The skin effect is the result of changing magnetic fields produced by alternating current, AC. With direct current, or DC, the current flows in only one direction. When you first turn on the circuit, the magnetic field is going to grow from 0 to a steady state value, but once the current becomes steady, the magnetic field also becomes steady. Alternating current, or AC, is completely different. The current is constantly changing in both magnitude and direction, so the magnetic field around the conductor is constantly changing as well. Those changing magnetic fields induce electrical fields inside the conductor that oppose the current flow. This opposition is strongest toward the center of the wire, effectively increasing the AC impedance in the center of that wire. Impedance is the word we use for resistance in an AC circuit. It's not exactly the same thing, but it's similar. Because that impedance is higher toward the center, current is naturally going to redistribute towards the outside of the conductor, and that concentration near the surface is the skin effect. Now, every time that I say the output from an audio amplifier is AC, someone's going to jump into the comments and tell me that I'm wrong. Let's look at how a speaker actually works. The current flowing through the speaker is going to change directions thousands of times every second. When the current flows in one direction, it creates a magnetic field that pushes the cone outward. When the current reverses direction, the magnetic field reverses and the cone moves inward. That back and forth motion is what creates sound. If the amplifier's output were DC, the cone would move out to one position and just stay there. You wouldn't hear music, you would hear a pop when the current is first applied. And then nothing, because the cone's not going to move. You need alternating current to get the cone to move. You can verify this for yourself with a simple 9-volt battery. Touch the battery to the speaker terminals and you'll hear a pop while the cone jumps out. Remove the battery and the cone's going to return back to its neutral resting position. That's also a handy way to verify the polarity of your subwoofers. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. Now it's time to get nerdy and show you some math. This right here is an exponential decay function, and it shows us how the current density changes as we move deeper into the conductor. As the depth increases, the density decreases. Then we define the skin depth as the point where the density has fallen to 36.8% of the surface density. And that brings us to our second big skin depth myth. Skin depth is not a brick wall. You actually never hit zero current density. That's just how exponential decay works. The density will eventually become arbitrarily close to zero, but never hit zero. The practical implication is that it never actually hurts to use a larger wire, but that larger wire is subject to diminishing returns. And since wire's not free, you reach a point where it doesn't make any sense to use a bigger wire. Let's revisit multi-stranded wire because there are a lot of misconceptions like this one right here. First of all, with DC, there is no relevant skin effect. And that, of course, is not relevant. What is relevant is the way that electromagnetic fields behave. In ordinary stranded cable, all of the strands are in electrical contact with one another, so they behave like one large conductor. The electromagnetic fields don't see 1,000 separate wires, they see one conductor. So why do we use stranded wire in a car and solid wire in a house? Well, for a ton of different reasons, and none of those reasons have anything to do with skin effect. Back to the nerdy stuff, here's a very important equation because it shows you how the skin depth is related to the frequency. And this is the most important thing about skin depth. It's correlated with the frequency. If If you look on the bottom right-hand side of this equation, you see F stands for frequency. F is on the bottom part of that fraction. That means that when F gets larger, that 36.8% skin depth threshold gets smaller. So for higher frequencies, the depth is more shallow. To illustrate this for you, I have created a visual aid. So what we have here on the screen is a 12 gauge wire, and a 12 gauge wire has a radius of about 1 millimeter. So the conductor in a 12 gauge wire is about 2 millimeters thick. That is about 5/64ths of an inch thick. Up here on this frequency slider, I have the slider set to 0 hertz. 0 hertz is DC. There's no frequency. As we increase the frequency, we can see that we get a skin depth reading. At 20 hertz, the skin depth is 14 millimeters, which is really close to 9/16ths of an inch. And remember, our 12 gauge cable is 5/64ths of an inch. So the skin depth at 20 hertz is significantly larger than the 12 gauge wire. So if you've hooked a 12 gauge wire up to your subwoofer and you're playing 20 hertz, the lowest a human being can hear, the electromagnetic process that creates the skin effect is going on, but that 36.8% threshold is much, much deeper than the radius of the wire. So there's not going to be any audible skin effect at 20 hertz. At 40 hertz, we get the same thing. The depth is now about 10 millimeters on a 2 millimeter thick wire. At 60 hertz, the depth now drops to about 7.3 millimeters. Again, much deeper than the thickness of the wire. At 100 hertz, we're at 6 millimeters. Again, not relevant. At 200 hertz, we're at 4.6 millimeters. So as you can see, for low frequencies, for a standard speaker wire, this is completely irrelevant. Let's crank the frequency up a little bit more. At 5,000 hertz, we're very close to the point where the skin depth is about equal to the radius of the wire. That skin depth is going to go all the way around the wire. So we're just barely getting into the middle of the wire at this point. So for anything below 5,000 hertz, you shouldn't worry one bit about skin effect in your 12 gauge wire. Let's crank it all the way up to 20,000 hertz and see what happens. So at 20,000 hertz, that skin depth is about 1/2 of a millimeter. And remember, it's not a hard cutoff. That's the point where you're down to 36.8% of the density relative to the surface. And up here on the right, I have estimated what the effective wire gauge is. Basically, your 12 gauge wire is now using the same cross-sectional area as your 14 gauge wire. The difference is mostly meaningless. And unless you're running some really powerful tweeters, you're not going to be pumping 20,000 hertz through a 12 gauge wire. You might use an 18 gauge wire for your tweeters at 20,000 hertz. Well, at 20,000 hertz, the skin depth is still slightly less than 1/2 a millimeter, and the radius of that 18 gauge wire is just a smidge more than 1/2 a millimeter. And that loss of density isn't enough to have any meaningful effect on the sound. Time for some more myth busting. I just showed you that the skin depth for 18 gauge wire is about the same as the radius of 18 gauge wire at 20,000 hertz. What does that mean for your frequency response? Well, it means absolutely nothing for your frequency response. 18 gauge wire is not the biggest wire you can use to achieve 20,000 hertz. You can send a 20,000 hertz signal through a wire of any size. The skin effect is not a limit on your frequency or your wire size. If you use a bigger wire, remember that the density never goes to 0. So even though the center part of the wire might be carrying less current, it can still carry current. This graphic is a little misleading. Let me be perfectly clear. A large wire like this is 1 gauge power wire, will definitely carry more current than a small wire. This is 14 gauge speaker wire. The amount of current that a wire can support is a function of the thickness of the wire and the length of the wire. And I've got a calculator on my website, DIYAudio.com, that you can use to figure out what size power wire you need for your car stereo amplifier. Holding everything else equal, if you want to pull more current, you need a bigger wire. The same thing's true for speakers. This is 12 gauge, this is 16 gauge. If you're sending a lot of power to the speaker, or if you've got a long run to your speaker, you want to use the 12 gauge wire, or maybe even larger for extreme applications. Small amounts of power over shorter runs, the smaller wire works just fine. Earlier I said that you don't need to worry about the skin effect for audio. Hopefully what I'm about to do is prove that to you. So let's say you had some 18 gauge speaker wire hooked up to your tweeters and you're playing a 10,000 hertz tone through the tweeters. At this point, the skin depth, that point where you're down to 36% of the density, is larger than the radius of the wire. So the impact of the skin effect is going to be very small. You really don't need to worry about it. And then you're thinking, well, okay, tweeters play up to 20,000 hertz too, don't they? Well, that's true, but a couple things to remember. One, nobody over 40 is going to be able to hear 20,000 hertz, so they probably won't notice it at all. And two, going from 10,000 hertz to 20,000 hertz requires 1/4 of the excursion, meaning you don't have to move the tweeter as much. So the fact that now the skin depth is slightly more than the radius of the 18 gauge speaker wire is also largely irrelevant. You've not lost enough for it to matter. What if I want to hook up a 16 gauge wire to my tweeter? That doesn't hurt anything. That 16 gauge wire can still conduct more power than an 18 gauge wire. And even though the skin depth is less than the radius of the wire, that stuff in the center can still deliver some energy because it never goes to zero. It's an exponential decay function. It's not something you should worry about. Now, if you're running 0 gauge wire to your tweeters, you can see there's a big weak zone in the middle of this wire, but no one's running 0 gauge wire to their tweeters. So for anything practical or relevant, it doesn't matter for this 20,000 hertz signal going to your tweeters. Okay, what if I'm running 16 gauge or 14 gauge wire to my mid-range speakers that are playing 100 hertz? Well, the skin depth at 100 hertz is over 6 millimeters. The radius of the wire is 0.6 millimeters. For those lower frequencies, you don't have to worry about skin effect. Use a larger wire if you need to send more power to the speaker. So maybe bump up to 14 gauge wire. And again, no skin effect issue. What about your subwoofers? You're going to say run a 40 hertz signal to your subwoofer and you want to run some big wire to your subwoofer, like some 8 gauge wire to a big sub. The skin depth is 10 millimeters on a wire with a 1.6 millimeter radius. It's fine. It's nothing to worry about. Maybe you want to run some 12 gauge wire to the subwoofer. Still no problem. 14 gauge wire to the sub. Still not a problem. So it's only marginally impactful if you're running stupid thick wire to your tweeters. So there's no practical point in the audio spectrum where it makes any difference. Here's what will make a big difference: hooking up 2 subwoofers and wiring one of them out of phase. That's going to kill your sound. To learn how to avoid that, click this video right up here. Before I go, I want to say thank you to all of my patrons with a big bonus shout out to B. Hutch, Brian, and Bo. I'm Justin. This is the DIY Audio Guy YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next adventure.